unlock this door with the key of imagination. Beyond it is another dimension.
Bob Charles.
Oh, yeah, you got the Bob Charles Show right here at www.kinetichifi.com.
In over 100 countries.
You're moving into a land of both shadow and substance, of things and ideas. You've just crossed over into...
Bob Charles.
The secret of the technology used in the crystal skulls has still not been unraveled.
Bob Charles.
Don't forget, it's our world. Start taking care of it. It's time to think for yourself.
Bob Charles.
Open your heart to reality and to all the misinformation you hear. Just say no.
Get your dose of the Bob Charles Show 7 times a week.
Oh, yeah, you're the Bob Charles Show, and you know what? It's Monday. That's right, Monday. It's the beginning of the week. Unbelievable. I mean, this is like tomorrow is like April 1st. Can you believe that? I mean, we went through Christmas, New Year's, St. Patty's Day, and whatever else came our way. And we're still here. Everything is going good. Love is high, and we're wailing. Let me tell you a little bit about the guest that's coming up next. And as you've just heard in the last song, two of us. Let me tell you about two of them. The guest name is Denise Otten, president and founder of Elite Wealth Strategies and author of a book called Curing Courtney, a true story of a mother and daughter's triumph over the deadly autoimmune hepatitis that threatened to take the life of a 7-year-old. Her name was Courtney. After 5 years treatment by pediatric hepatologists in New York, the meds did not work. The next step was stronger drugs and a possible liver transplant. Frustrated and angry with the doctors, Denise took it upon herself to find an alternative treatment. Thanks to scientifically proven nutraceuticals and vitamins, a baseball autographed by the Yankees star Derek Jeter, Courtney went into remission. Now you can believe this, right? Better medicines, better ways to get the medicines, not all this stuff all over the place, not that you can't pronounce the words backwards, forwards, inside out, or upside down, and a baseball. I always say that. Love is number one, and that helps. Courtney went into remission in a matter of months. She is now a slim, beautiful teenage athlete. Out of gratitude for her daughter's recovery, she created a children's foundation which donates to children's group homes and hospitals. She shares her passion for alternative and holistic remedies, writing the book Curing Courtney, hoping it will empower readers to take nutritional control of their health and learn about alternative modalities that go beyond the standard medical treatments. And everything you hear about, that there's a better way. Let me introduce you, the world, the audience, to Denise Otten. Hi, Denise.
Hi, Bob. Thanks for having me.
Oh, man, I'm telling you, it is like so cool having you on, because, I love mothers that do things for their kids, just like fathers that do the same thing. I mean, we're all the same.
It's
we're
a team
parents.
effort, let me tell you.
We're parents. I mean, one way, you ain't kidding that team. I got 2 kids myself. And
I know.
You know what? It's you as a parent, you go through life sometimes biting your nails off.
Yes,
with some of the things that
especially
go
when
on.
they're sick. When they're sick, you just gnaw them to the bone because you're trying so desperately to save their lives.
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad if it was a toy that you could fix, but these things don't fix.
Right.
Not easily,
right.
anyway. Now, you got to tell me a little bit about this book, because the book itself, and you did send me a copy of the book, and I thank you very much. And it is, it's an awesome book, from one to the other. This thing is something, though, too, and that I'd like to get out on, if you have any copies of, partial, PDFs or something. I'd like to get it on a blog and let more people see pieces of this. And we can go through some of the pieces that are in here that actually, literally, I'll give you a couple right off the top of my head.
Shoot.
That really got me. Courtney's courage.
Yes.
Now, that is a child that has guts.
It's amazing what sick children go through. I think sometimes they're stronger internally than adults are. They just can handle so much, and you just don't realize. She went through so much in 5 years, transformation of her body because of the prednisone. Now, if you know anything about prednisone, you know that it has bad side effects. One of the bad side effects is very visual. It's puffy cheeks. They call them chipmunk cheeks.
Ew.
And also, they grow excessive hair. So a child or a woman, men, you don't really care too much on a man, but they grow excessive hair. So they grow mustaches, or they grow sideburns, or they grow hair on their arms and legs and back. And it's very disconcerting to a small child, to someone who's 8 years old, much less someone who's a teenager. And this is what she had to go through for 5 years on and off. Very upsetting, and as you can imagine, she got teased by some children. That's the beginning.
I would say that's a little bit different than kids that are bullied in school. This is like people pointing fingers at you and saying, "Look, you're weird."
Yeah, exactly. And quite frankly, we tried to have her be strong, and we tried to have her be courageous. If anyone were to say anything, just to ignore them, darling. But she just was a very intelligent little girl, and she was able to have a quick just retort and speak back and defend herself. And unbeknownst to us, in the higher schools, like the middle schools, my oldest children, the older boy and the older girl, they actually had to defend her honor. And one time, the middle daughter had to actually attack a boy. She just literally attacked him in the hallway because he was teasing her little sister, and she didn't like it. And she was just defending her honor because kids are mean. And when your little sister is growing excess hair and is getting heavier just because a drug was doing it, it's just not fair. And that's just the beginning of it. It took away, 5 years of her childhood was spent on these drugs.
Wow. And she was also going for treatment, too, for pediatric hepatologists.
The pediatric hepatologist is the liver specialist, is the children's liver specialist, and they had her on 2 very strong immunosuppressants.
Yeah, but
one is prednisone that everybody knows about.
Right. What I wanted to get to, Burnett, before you go any further, these are drugs that can shut down the liver.
Well, in theory, they're supposed to suppress your immune system.
Huh.
So if it suppresses your immune system, then your immune system should not attack your liver. However, in great doses and in many, many people, the drug doesn't work, and it does make your liver get worse. You're absolutely right.
Yeah,
and in Courtney's case, it did. It made her liver get worse after 4.5 years on this drug. So under those circumstances, then they go, well, we're going to have to do something else, and there's another drug on the market, and it's an alternative drug, but we're going to try it. And I said, hold on a second, wait a second. As of now, you've been giving her 4.5 years to 5 years of drugs that I didn't want to give her in the first place because I know that they are and potentially can be carcinogenic, which they don't tell you. But the
No.
drug is actually a precursor to a leukemia drug.
Oh, man.
So people who have leukemia start on these drugs.
The
So-
thing that I like is when they turn around to you and they say, "We'd like to try."
Mm-hmm.
You know, when they say "try," that's when, you know, if somebody says that to me, and especially if it's a kid, I mean,
Right.
I would get goosebumps. I would say, like,
Right.
"What do you mean try?" You know, it's
Exactly.
like a practicing doctor. Are you practicing or are you a doctor? You know, it's
Yeah.
like, whoa.
Well, with all due respect to them, they have a certain protocol to follow. This is the protocol to reverse or to suppress an immune system in many, many, many autoimmune systems. So it could be liver disease, it could be AIH, which is autoimmune hepatitis, it could be hepatitis C, it could be Crohn's disease, it could be MS. There are many different drugs to suppress the immune system, but what they don't do is they don't give you vitamins and nutrients to boost your body back to a strong body so that it can ward off all these problems. Now,
Wow.
very short in a short time, in 2.5 to 3 months, on these vitamins and nutraceuticals, Courtney went into remission. Her autoimmune system worked perfectly, and her liver levels came down to normal, the best they had been in 5 years.
Wow.
It had never been this good in only 2.5 months. Now, having said that, that doesn't happen to everybody. Sometimes people take 6 months. Sometimes people take 9 months. Sometimes people take a year, depending on the severity of the situation and whether or not they stay on a good stringent diet and they take their vitamins religiously. And then some people actually don't do well, and they have to eventually have a liver transplant. And what I've noticed is that those people, when they get the right doctor and when they get on the protocol and they change their diet, those people are in the minority. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
They are actually in the minority. Most people actually reverse their disease, and it's a beautiful thing. And if I can say, I want to take the liberty to say, since I published the book a year ago, a year and change, I have had many, many people try and contact me and get on the protocol, and I try and find them doctors in their area, or I send them to people who I know have been successful in reversing autoimmune disease with this antioxidant protocol. And so many people, I've lost count,
You
have
see,
turned around their lives.
You see how powerful we are, and we're just
It's
people.
beautiful.
We're just people helping people. That's all we do.
And if I can tell you, I just have to say,
Absolute.
one man contacted me. He had a child who was 14 months old who had
Ow.
this. I was aghast. I could not figure out what to do because I didn't know any pediatricians that knew this. It's a baby, barely a year. It's incredible. Well, I did the best I can. I said, I don't know anybody in your area, but please look for an alternative, somebody who's nutritionally oriented, who's an MD or a DO or an ND who knows this antioxidant treatment. And in the book, I give you the exact diet that she was on and the exact vitamin protocol and the antioxidants. I even tell you where to buy them because you really have to get high quality. Well, in 8 months, he called me back. The baby is now 2 years old, and she's doing great, and her liver levels are the best ever. Thank you very much for helping me. We found a doctor, and the doctor is doing great with the baby. And they're weaning off the medicine.
And
So that's
you know what you
the
else?
youngest child.
You know what you else did? You turned the doctor onto a new treatment. You changed.
Well,
you
no,
changed the doctor.
This doctor knew the treatment.
Yeah, but
He
he wasn't.
found somebody.
But if he was using it, he would have publicized it somewhere so that this person that was looking for the doctor would have found it. I mean,
Yes,
it's like,
yes.
you know, they have it, they know about it, but they figure if they come out of their closet, I mean, the rest of the physician group is not going to like him anymore because he's going to do all these things and he's going to, you know, cause the drug companies not
Yeah.
to be able to make all that money on all those if drugs. I have Canada right now, and is telling me, according to what you had said,
What?
that the doctors are actually saying, like, look, we'd like to use your kid as a guinea pig.
What?
You know the drugs when they
Yes.
go from one drug to the next.
Yes,
That's just making a human being a guinea pig.
I know.
Well, you got to try this, and you got to try this.
Well, in all deference, they just don't have any other information. They follow the American Medical Association. They follow the protocol, and they're not allowed to go off track. Nor do they really, most of them don't want to go off track. Maybe because they're afraid that they might lose their license, or maybe they just don't believe there's anything else. The only thing that most of them will do is follow the rules. But science is an ever-changing industry. Science is always changing. We no longer are in the George Washington days where they used to bloodlet to see if you would survive an infection. Well, that just killed the people. You can't. Science is ever-changing. You must change with the times, and you have to research outside the box, or you'll never find your answers. Now, I'm not saying this is for everybody, because there are many people who don't want to go against the grain. They want to follow the rules. They want to listen to the doctor. And many might think, this is crazy, the book is crazy. But what if, Bob, what if your kid was 8 years old? Remember back when they were 8 years old, right?
Oh, yeah.
What if your kid had a deadly disease, and you had one person that you found across the country that had reversed it with an antioxidant protocol, vitamins, nutraceuticals, and a severe dietary change? One person. Wouldn't you like to hear what that person had to say and where they got that science from?
Well,
who did they speak to? Which doctors did they go to?
Right.
And let me see all the books that you've read.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well,
That's what I'm starting to open up.
You see what I do right now. Don't you think I'd be on the phone?
Yes.
Oh man, I'm telling you, it'd be like, hello. All right, give it to me straight. You know.
And that's what I want to do. I want to be the voice for people who want alternative answers. You know, you can use the medicine. The medicine is there for a reason. It's necessary. When you're sick, you need the medicine. If your liver levels are so high that it's dangerous, you need the medicine. But you also need the vitamins so that you can go back to the healthy way that you were. Logical?
Yeah, and you also need the better foods. You need a certain regimen of eating that food so that it goes through your body in a certain way so your body reacts to the different chemicals that are in the food. I mean, yeah, and you really do. I mean, you as a parent, you had to figure all this out. I mean, you and a doctor had to put this thing together in that so that she could not only eat it and gain weight and gain her immune system back, which, first of all, by the way, see, that's one of the things that got me in the book. They actually knocked down the immune system, thought they were going to fix it, and not in the back of their mind thinking that, like, hey, I'm knocking this thing away. How are we going to get it back once it's lost?
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, it's like giving somebody AIDS. You know, it's like when the immune system is gone, goodbye, Charlie. That's it. It's out of there.
That's right.
And they were, I mean, that's what was going on. I mean, you got it just in time, really.
Right. And believe it or not, there are some people, and my favorite story is a gentleman who's in Europe who I've been in touch with for a full year, and he's had this for 12 years.
Ouch.
Nobody's been able to get him off the drugs. For 12 years he was on prednisone. Now, of course, we know it probably did something to his teeth and his bones, but nevertheless, it was keeping him alive for 12 years. Finally, after he read my book, the two of us together tried to find doctors to help him in Europe. He happens to be brilliant and a chemist, so he was able to research beyond what I researched, and he reversed it within a year. And he's off all meds, everything, all meds. He's just on a lot of vitamins, and his diet is cleaner than before. And a lot of it, and only one chapter is allotted to the belief system and the power of the belief, power of the mind. You really have to have a happy and strong will to get better. You want to be happy all the time, or at least you got to try. You want to get rid of the stressors in your life that actually maybe started this. they'll tell you, oh, it was probably a virus that brought on the autoimmune disease. But that's just the physical part of it. The other part, Bob, and you know this better than anybody else, the power of belief dictates your health.
Absolutely.
Both good and bad.
Yep, absolutely.
So we really, really want to believe that the vitamins are going to work. And there's a chapter in the book, Yankee Miracles, if anybody's a Yankee fan. And it really, really makes a difference when you make a body happy. And that's part of healing.
Well, it's the same thing I say all the time on every single show. The word love and love is the strongest medicine on the planet.
It is.
If you have that, the rest is easy.
I totally agree. And that's part of that. That is in the book.
So there you go. I mean, it's exactly what it is. Now, you have a chapter in here which made me smile. You must be a quack. And I was like, what went through my mind when I first read this? The commercial for the insurance company.
Oh, Aflac.
Aflac. Yeah, I mean, it's like I could see the little head come out of the book going Aflac.
Very funny.
But I'm serious. I mean, it was, what do you mean by this? Tell me about this chapter so that everybody else can get a little a better idea of their doctors.
Well, you have to understand. Back when she was diagnosed, she was a little tiny girl, 7 years old, and one of those kids that would have a doll with her wherever she went, and everything. She was just filled with love. She was just the happiest little girl. And when I sat down in the doctor's office, and the specialist's office, and they diagnosed her, and they told me what it was, of course I was crying, but in my head I'm thinking, he's a quack. He has no idea what he's talking about. Not my child, because you never think it's going to happen to your child. Here we were, two very standard American people who grew up trying to achieve the American dream. We both came from nothing. We worked really hard. We worked our way through school. Both of us worked our way through school, and we had jobs. And we were working really hard to put a nice house together for the kids. And all of a sudden, you're like the trap door drops out from under you. And everything, your life just changes when your kid is sick with a deadly disease. So you think that the doctor's wrong. And you think that he's a quack. Because what do you mean, my kid? 5 years of drugs? Not me.
Yeah.
So I had to do my research. I couldn't trust him right away. I had to do my research. I had to give her the drugs because I had to reduce the inflammation immediately. I had no choice. She was sick. She had jaundice. She had yellow eyes. I had to give her a drug fast. I knew that. But there had to be something else. There just had to be. And that's why I kind of thought that he was a quack. But he wasn't. He just didn't know anything else but drugs. But he wasn't a quack. He was in a very reputable company.
Yeah, but you want to hear something really funny, though? I said Aflac before. And Canada and Australia? Yeah, Australia is saying, what's Aflac?
Yeah.
Okay, don't worry about it, guys. I'll write it on the blog.
Insurance company that has a duck as the main character.
Yeah, that's the main dude for the insurance company. Yeah, it's all quacked up. I don't know. Anyway, giving up control: how to live with autoimmune hepatitis. Now, this was really, this was really something that this is. This is the part of a disease that brings a whole family down, and I'm going to get into even a little bit more deeper into this so the people out there that are listening to this can understand that, all right, you go through all this stuff that we're going to talk about, but there's an upside.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about the upside, too. And so go ahead with it. Giving up control. Now, you're giving up control to the universe.
Mm-hmm.
You're saying, hey, listen, what's going to happen is going to happen, and I'm going to help.
Well, it was more like at that point in the chapter in the book I was talking about that I had to give up control to the doctors. Being a mother and a working woman, so I'm a working woman who has a household with kids and a husband and a dog, and I'm busy beyond belief, and I don't have time. I look on the Internet to see what's going on and how to heal this, and there's nothing there. In 2003, when she got sick, there was nothing on the Internet. Google was was like not even a household name yet. It was like, Google what? No, I'm going to go on Yahoo or Ask Jeeves. You know, the beginning of the Internet was there. But there was nobody available on the Internet that had an answer. So because I was so busy just surviving and just living day to day and, you know, trying to put food on the table every day and get them to school and get their clothes prepared and forget about the washing of the laundry, that's another issue. I just didn't have time to think about how can I heal my daughter, so I had to give up control to the doctor. And I went to the best that I thought in the United States on the East Coast. And I thought I went to the best doctor because, you know, he had all the pedigree and in the best hospital in the biggest metropolis in the United States. And I gave control. I gave him my daughter's life. And I shouldn't have, but I didn't have anything else. I had nobody to help me. Bob, you weren't even there in 2003. This radio show wasn't there.
No. It's
Where
true.
were you?
It's very, very. I'm serious. If I was there, hey, listen, maybe we could have made a difference back then. But
Yeah,
we
there
are.
just
But we
wasn't
are
anybody
now.
there.
We are now. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on right now in the chat box, and that about this.
Oh, good. Let's chat.
Yeah. Well, that's what they're doing. So.
Is there any questions that I can answer for anybody out there?
Well, you know what? Let me see. Yes, they're thinking. So,
Thinking.
They're thinking
Well,
of.
in the meantime, what you want to do is, and this is the thing that I wanted to just put out to everybody. Not only is this like the beginning, this is the primer, I want to call it. This is the primer. This is the first book you buy to start you on your road to research. What else can I find that's going to reverse my liver disease, MS, multiple sclerosis is MS, hepatitis C. There's a lot of people out there who have Sjogren's disease. You know, Venus Williams, the famous tennis player, has Sjogren's disease.
Yeah,
Sjogren's.
Yep.
And this particular protocol, in addition to low-dose naltrexone, does reverse Sjogren's. I've been trying to reach out to her. I want everyone to know there are alternatives out there. Not everything's going to work 100%. But this particular protocol is being picked up by many, many doctors in the United States and some in Europe. And I can't find any in South Africa, but there are some in Australia.
Do you want some? We've got plenty of people in South Africa that listen to us.
Really?
Yeah, really.
I don't know any doctors in South Africa. I can't find any.
Right now, there are doctors that are listening to us in Guinea.
Well, I would welcome them to please email me at Denise@curingcourtney.com. That's Denise, DENISE, at curingcourtney.com.
Yeah, it's on the blog.
Okay. That is, I really need to have MDs, NDs, DOs that are knowledgeable in antioxidant protocol that I can refer people to.
Yeah, well,
I just found a pediatrician who listened to me on another radio show, and I'm going to be sending people to him.
There you go.
Because he called me. He contacted me, and he knows. He's in the know.
Yeah,
we need to connect everybody together in the world. We need to help each other.
Yes. See, somebody else that thinks just like we do. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Another thing that I was going to say too, Annette, with the PDF, if you can get it over to me, Annette, when we put that on, what I do is I will put, that'll be on Facebook, that'll be on Twitter, that'll be all over the place that you were on the show, et cetera, with some kind of a biohistory, and aim everybody back to the blog. And with the blog, and it's got everything that I read in the beginning plus whatever else. So people can go there by research, by what they do on the website anyway. And they can go in and they can read it. They can take the PDF. They can look at that. They can read that. If they know somebody, send them.
Yes.
People can.
Well,
I can get an email.
Everybody knows somebody. That's the funny thing. I used to know a lot of people in television, and I tried to contact them. And I spoke to recently. I got the ear of a big anchor, and the person said to me, I said, "Is there anybody you know that could help with this protocol? Anybody you know that has an autoimmune disease, children?" And this person said, "No, I don't know anybody. I really don't know anybody." And then I heard the person speak on the air saying, "My kid has allergies and asthma And I thought, my goodness, they don't even realize that they're talking about an autoimmune disease.
Right.
So you see, people don't realize that autoimmune diseases can be reversed. My other daughter has eczema. She's a little bit more difficult than the other one because she just won't listen to me. She's a college student who has her own mind, obviously.
Oops.
Well, she finally started eating really, really well, and she started taking the alpha-lipoic and the other vitamins straight for 2 weeks. And she said, Ma, look at my eczema. It's 50% gone. Oh, wow. Fascinating. 6 years later, she finally did it. So, you see, it can reverse some other diseases.
That's good. And, they're just saying on the John, who's down in Australia, and who does my YouTubes and things, that who is my left hand, right hand, and probably one of my feet helper down there, and that he said we'll just put the whole show and that on YouTube.
Fabulous. I would love that.
Yeah, that'll go viral real quick. All right, on chapter. Let me talk about this one before you go any further, Annette, because this is kind of sort of the plug out of the bottom of the boat kind of deal.
Okay.
Wall Street while raising a sick kid.
Oh yes.
That was. I'm telling you. I worked in New York too. I mean, I come down from where you are.
Yeah.
And I'm in Charleston, South Carolina now, but I came down here for the weather.
I'm jealous today.
Well, I'm telling you, it's like 67, 68 degrees net outside. So, I mean, that's kind of nice. But on the other hand, it's not like, come on. Down here, you want a bagel? Ha. You want to get...
Don't eat the bagel. Please don't eat the bagel. That's wheat. We got to get off wheat.
But I'm serious,
That's one of the first things you get off when you have an autoimmune disease.
But, I mean,
Did I sound too New York to you?
If you want, yeah. But if you want nice Italian foods... and things.
Yes.
You don't come to Charleston.
Okay.
You want anything that's got to do with fish or anything like that? Hey, listen, no problem. You know what I mean? They got right. That kid. That's covered. But you want like good pizzas and everything else. I mean, you can get a decent pizza. I'm not going to say it's bad or anything else, but come on. You go to Brooklyn, you get one of those Sicilian pies. Oh man.
Nothing like it. Nothing like it.
Forget about it. I mean, I miss it so much. And especially when you walk in Manhattan and you walk down the street at 6 o'clock in the morning and all you smell is coffee.
The best.
Oh man, I'm telling you, it's like euphoric, just going to work.
But now you have to make organic coffee. You have to drink it organically now because all the pesticides are what's really harming us.
We got that around here.
And our immune diseases.
Yeah, we got that around here too. And
good.
I kind of grit my teeth in it a little bit, but hey, what am I going to do? It's like, hey, got to go with it, I guess. But in your thinking about Wall Street, Nat, you actually got a great job and lost it in 5 days?
Oh no, not really. I finally got to the company of my dreams, and I thought I had made it, and then my manager left in 5 days. 5 days later, he was fired, and I was left there kind of in a sea of piranhas, not knowing what to do. And I just had to survive. And that wasn't that bad, except that I was still dealing with a child who was very sick, and I couldn't tell anybody about my fears of losing my child, because the most important thing was my kid. But, of course, I was trying to, better my career, and I went into one of the best Wall Street firms, and I was so happy and excited, but then too much stress occurred after he was fired. Then I was just kind of on the chopping block.
Yeah, but this is something that I want to get out there to everybody that's listening here today. This is a parent. We all are in one way or another. I mean, I don't even care whether you're a woman, a guy, or whatever. You never had kids or anything else, but you got cousins, you got nephews or something. You got kids somewhere that you care for. Somehow, when these are your own kids, when they are yours, I don't know. Maybe it's just your chemical makeup of a parent changes.
Yes.
We are like piranhas with teeth.
Right.
Don't mess with my kid.
Absolutely.
Does that sound like Long Island? Don't mess with my kid. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'll tell you.
But I'm serious. I mean, this is the kind of thing that everybody's got to do. It's not something that you just gain. It's something that you have to stand by your kid.
Yes, you do.
And you
And
did.
many of us also find, and the reason why I put that chapter in the book was just so that people could relate to. It's not just I was in Wall Street. It's just I was in corporate America. Corporate America is all over the United States, and I'm sure people in Europe and people in Australia and South Africa, it's all the same. When you're in a big corporation, and I went into a big corporation, you're going to have a lot more stressors. And sometimes you got to fight for your life, or you're going to get canned, and then you'll be out, without a job, and you can't pay your bills.
Yeah,
so
it's either that
the
or you
Wall
gotta duck.
Street chapter was not to throw it in front of people's faces. It's just to say, look, I was like everybody else, just trying to do well for my family. I had a job, I went to a good firm, and then all of a sudden I didn't have the manager that hired me, and I just was up a creek without a paddle with a sick kid. So I was really stressed.
Yeah, that's stressful. And plus, you lived in New Jersey. Did you take the trains back and forth?
No, it happened to be a New Jersey branch, but it was still just that corporate structure that, you better be tough and hang in there, and you better produce, or you're out.
Yeah, that's
that
New
was
York.
always looming over your head.
Yeah, that's New York, and I did that. I was in communication, though, but that's after my musical career for 39 years. I was in communication, and it was funny. New York is it's an animalville. It is really.
Yes,
I mean,
but it's that way all over in all places in corporate America, and it's all over. I shouldn't say corporate America because I was speaking to somebody in Europe, and they're experiencing that, and they couldn't. They had to be careful what they wrote to me because they were working in the equivalent of the FDA in Europe.
Right.
So they had to be really careful talking to me on an email so that they didn't get fired. So everyone's got it. Everyone's got that pressure. It's not just New York. It's not just Wall Street. It's corporations. And if you have a job in a big corporation, or you have a small corporation and a rotten boss, it's the same. We're all the same, Bob.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm telling everybody. People who are alternative are all the same. People who are not interested in changing and they want to follow the only what the doctors say, that's okay. That's their path. I'm not opposed to that. I'm just saying I have an alternative. But we all have the same stressors.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody. And every nationality.
Let me ask you to give this so that people out there can get a little better. By the way, when they're talking about corporations and things, that in Canada they're saying big sawmill industries.
Oh, there you go.
In Canada, and
I don't even know anybody in sawmill industry, but I know that it's about corporations.
What you're talking about in you got to get a job, you got to do this, you have a quota in a sense, especially in New York. I mean, that's like a capital word over there.
Yes.
It's the same thing in Canada.
Yeah, you're just dealing with the timber industry
right.
instead of stocks and bonds.
Yeah,
it's all the same thing. You got a producer, you're out.
And by the way, to Canada, if anybody's listening from the government up there, don't forget every single tree that you cut down is another piece of oxygen we don't get to breathe.
Oh.
Brains? Okay. Now, back to where we were. No, I'm serious. I mean, we've had this show we've been around the block a couple times. But as far as what we're talking, I love this show.
You cover all bases.
Oh, we do, definitely that and all sports too at the same time.
Great.
And I don't mean sports. I mean subjects.
Right.
But when you have a child that's this kind of sick, what kind of regimen do you actually have to follow or have the child follow so that they get better? What kind of foods are in there?
Okay, that's on page 144 to 147 is the exact protocol that I gave her, and that's something that may differ from doctor to doctor, but it's all the vitamins are very similar from doctor to doctor. So although they might not say use exact alpha-lipoic that Dr. Berkson used, they might use a brand that has a strong amount of, a lot of alpha-lipoic, and that actually is effective. So each doctor has used alpha-lipoic, selenium, silymarin, and other multivitamins to help the immune system strengthen itself so that it doesn't attack itself. So if you have whatever vitamins you have, the theory behind it is to raise the glutathione level in each cell of your body. What's glutathione? That's in a chapter of its own. But glutathione is a protein within each cell of your body, and when you have a low glutathione level, your body doesn't have a good immune system. Your immune system might attack itself. When your glutathione level is raised in each cell of your body, which takes a while, to its optimum level, then your body doesn't attack itself. Your immune system works perfectly. And you won't have so many viruses that affect you. You'll walk into a room full of viruses, and maybe you're the one that won't get it as badly, or you won't get it at all. But everybody else with a low immune system will. Now, so you get a bunch of vitamins, and that's in the protocol in the book, and it has to do with alpha-lipoic, selenium, and silymarin. Those are the three. My girlfriend from New York calls it the antioxidant triple. Her daughter is now all better. A year later, she was 6 years old when she started the protocol. She's 7, and she's all done, off all the meds.
Wow.
Now, the other thing that's really critical, Bob, is what you put in your mouth. The foods that you start to eat. Today, everyone who has any kind of autoimmune system, they have to start organic eating now. So only eat organic whole foods. Like, if you lived on a farm 100 years ago, what would you eat? Would you eat processed cornflakes? Cheerios? No, they didn't exist.
No, you're
You
right.
eat what's on the farm or what you slaughter on the farm. Now, I'm a vegetarian, but still, if you want to eat meat, that's okay. Organic meat. Processed food didn't exist 100 years ago. You ate what was on the farm or on the farm next to you. That's how you have to think, and it's got to be organic, because the pesticides and the GMOs that they put into the foods these days makes a difference in your gut, and your gut is where your health begins. And an unhealthy gut creates a lot of autoimmune diseases. Now, this is just a general number, a general idea of what the diet should be. The most important thing that I must stress is that you take wheat and dairy out of your diet today if you have an autoimmune disease. You can add it back later in moderation, but you've got to get yourself healthier. And wheat is a very big problem in this world, not just America. Now, the other book that I didn't put in there, it wasn't published before I wrote my book. It's called Wheat Belly, and it's by a doctor from Harvard in the United States in Massachusetts. But the guy's name is Dr. William Davis, and that's another good book to read, in addition to the other ones that are in my book. I have a lot of references to books that you can read. So, long story short, an antioxidant treatment with probiotics and a diet that includes organic whole foods. Organic whole foods. No wheat, no dairy. Until you're feeling better, then you can add them back in moderation.
Yeah, there's
and that's
another
something that you play with.
There's another diet in here. I believe it's the doctor's. Dr. Berkson?
Dr. Bert Berkson is the gentleman that I found that has this antioxidant protocol that I followed.
This is really cool stuff, though. 6 green vegetables a day.
Well, I wanted to give people a general diet to follow because people go, well, I don't know what to eat. What do I do if I can't have my Cheerios? Well, but I want my I love this. Somebody said to me, well, then what do I feed my kids if I can't feed them the box cereals? Well, then you're going to have to go and get some organic bacon and some organic eggs and try not to use the cheese. And you can use salt and pepper, sea salt. It's okay. You can have an avocado. You can put vegetables in your eggs. You can get rice bread. Very good, by the way.
Ooh.
Organic. Oh, yummy.
Is that good?
It's very thick and very, very, very hearty. So you're full. And you can put avocado. You know, the Californians eat eggs and avocado. You know that?
Yeah, yeah.
Avocado is super, super healthy.
Any
But
closer
you could do
to
something-
Mexico, and they'll eat more of it.
Mexico, all the South Americans eat eggs, beans, and rice for
Right.
breakfast.
Right. Exactly.
Good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Oh, yeah.
You just have to think differently. You have to think alternatively. And juicing, fabulous. There are many people who juice just to reverse their autoimmune system, except it's not sustainable when you're raising children.
Well, there is a how do they say it? There's a way to take a diet like this and balance your immune system, because we're all out of whack.
Yes.
All the stuff that we eat, because we eat so weird, and we've always done it ever since we were born, just about.
Yes.
So our immune system is up and down whenever it wants to go, or whenever something is in the way, and or if you're going to get a cold, or if you think you're going to get a cold, or if it thinks that you're getting a cold, it's going to go bananas. And if you stay on one like this type of diet that's here, it keeps the immune system even all the time. So you don't get anything.
And there is so much science to back this up. It's unbelievable. I also reference places to read the information. And when you go on my website, you can find more information. When you go on my Facebook page, you can find more information. The Facebook page is Curing Courtney. The website is www.curingcourtney.com. And you can see all the different people that I keep posting all the information that you need to reverse these diseases. One of the things that I came upon just this year was the power in the sugar industry. The fake sugars are absolutely responsible. I'm not going to say 100%, but a portion of them are responsible for multiple sclerosis and diseases of, I want to say, neurological disorders. Because many neurological disorders, when you take away the diet soda and the sugar-free gum I was addicted to sugar-free gum for years, which is possibly why I had my autoimmune diseases. But all the fake sugars, when you take them away, all of a sudden the symptoms start to decrease in an MS patient. The symptoms start to decrease in anybody who has a neurological issue, like migraines. Simple migraines. Take the fake sugars and sugars out of the diet and eat lots of protein. It's amazing.
You know, what you're also talking about is there are fake sugars in a lot of other processed foods that we eat.
Yeah.
Not just the fact that we have, these little pink, sugar things.
Splenda,
not just there.
pink, blue.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Not just there. It goes further. I mean, there's fake sugar in things that you eat. They're saying on the chat box, in fact, right now, not to eat white bread, because white bread, of course, is made out of the same wheat that's in the GMO stuff.
Yes.
So you're eating all the junk while you're eating the bread at the same time.
Okay, I'm going to say it 3 times because people don't listen to you until you say something 3 times. Did you ever hear that before?
Yes.
No wheat. Don't eat wheat. Don't eat wheat. Don't eat wheat if you have an autoimmune system. So people come to me and they go, well, what about that all organic wheat bread that I got at the grocery store? I said, what did I just say?
Yeah.
I said wheat. The word wheat is the same whether it's white or brown wheat. Don't eat it. Besides the fact you'll get fat after 40 years old.
Yeah, we don't even. I don't even feed my dogs wheat.
Oh, it's an inflammatory food. So it's also not good for heart patients.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Not good. So
that's very amazing. Yeah, Dr. Steven Sinatra, and cardiologist who's an alternative cardiologist. He always talks about that you have to watch the inflammatory foods. You cannot eat the inflammatory foods because what kills people is the inflammation in the veins, not the cholesterol. So there's a lot of things that are beneficial that this diet offers.
Yeah, let me give everybody out there some kind of an idea here, because I mean I've got this young lady sent me her book. That's like giving Bob a toy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, watch me play with it. It's like, avoid the following: milk by the glass, no low-fat or skim milk. In other words, don't think you're cheating because it says 1%.
Yes.
It don't count. White flour, sugar. In other words, skip white bread. There's a good one. Tobacco, alcohol. Well, okay. You girls out there don't want to smoke cigars, go ahead. salty foods. Now, the salty foods, that one I didn't get because salt is good for you. Sea salt.
Well, sea salt is okay, but we were talking about the liver. So when you have too much salt, it has to do with that it's not processed through the liver very well. So that's Dr. Berkson's diet. I'm giving people a doctor's diet. I am not making this up myself.
No.
I'm taking the best of the best, and I'm just regurgitating. I'm just telling you exactly what he would tell you if you were sitting in front of him.
That's cool.
The only thing I add is don't eat the wheat.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are allergic, and Courtney was, a little bit. But later on, I read so many books advocating do not eat wheat and the reasons why. And, of course, from your show, I'm sure people know about genetically modified foods.
Oh, yeah, they do.
And the wheat that they've destroyed our wheat crops over the decades, over the centuries. So that's why we're not supposed to eat the wheat, because it's not easy to digest, and also it pokes holes in our intestinal tract if they're GMOs, and it creates leaky gut syndrome.
Yeah. Some of the other things that on here are this is going to be good. And you're close to New York. This is going to be excellent. Sweet. What's it? Soft drinks.
Yeah.
Especially diet sodas. And make sure if you're going to drink water, put it in 19 ounces. And then you also have margarine and most cooking oils, which means forget it, skip it. Get one of those pans that don't stick.
Oh, you don't get the pans that don't stick. Those have carcinogens that are emitted.
So all right. So I got to get rid of my pans now.
Stainless steel. Stainless steel.
Oh man, that's yuck. There goes all my
Sorry.
stuff. Oh well. Anyway, margarine and the cooking oils, I guess, are out of here. Processed foods, deep fried foods. So down here in the South, they call this the stroke belt.
Do they
I'm
really?
serious. I'm dead serious. I got it from a doctor down here. The stroke belt. And the reason why they say that is because everybody eats everything that's been deep fried.
I was told that by a doctor who had a wellness practice down there, and the wellness practice did not take off because a lot of people won't adhere to the diet. They won't stop eating their fried foods, he told me.
Nope.
I said, I had no idea.
Nope. They just, I don't know what, you pass people that, sitting on the back of the car or something, that licking their fingers, after having, it's not Kentucky Fried Chicken, but they do have that down here. But they have these other places that I can't mention.
It's called Paula Dean's.
Yeah.
Paula Dean's house
I swear.
of fried stuff.
You would not believe it. And then there's grapefruit, which is weird, though, because I thought that was an antitoxin.
Right. I again, that's the doctor's preference. I can't explain why no grapefruits. I know that certain people who take heart medication should not eat grapefruits. It's a contradiction. Not contradiction.
Yeah.
It's contratain.
Okay. Yeah.
The drug. You're not supposed to take it. So I don't know why no grapefruit. I just honored his request. This is the list he gives me. This is the list I live by.
Wow. And then peanuts in any form, but they're no good anyway for you. I mean, if you leave them, if you don't chew them all the way.
Yeah, peanuts are a difficult thing to digest, but other nuts are okay. You can have nut butter. You can have cashew or almond, organic. There are many different nuts that you can eat, just not the peanut.
And then you have on here Tylenol, which, see, this is another thing that I pointed out in a bunch of my shows. Mm-hmm. How many times do you watch a commercial on TV for a drug? Any drug. I don't care which drug it is. And at least 1/3 of that commercial is a part of the commercial net who tells you what could happen to certain people by taking the drugs. In other words, if you take this drug, you could die. Your leg could fall off. Your tongue will fall out. Your eyeball will go sideways. Your ears will bend. I mean,
go to the store and buy it.
I'm serious. At the end of the whole thing, that they say, but it helped me. Okay, so you're laying there in a pile of whatever, sitting on the floor, but it helped you. Yeah, right. I don't believe those things. I don't, and I'm very, very firmly behind you in that when doing what you do, because I mean, let's face it. I mean, somebody has to turn around and say no.
I know. I had to write this book because there were so many people. So many people didn't believe me that this was so, and that I actually reversed my daughter's illness. People who were my friends for years, some of them looked at me like, yeah. Well, are you going to come drinking with us later, or are you going to come to the party? Like, they didn't even acknowledge what a big deal this was. So I just sat back and I waited a few years. I always wrote something about the book so that I could remember it. But I also found that when I would tell strangers the story of how I reversed my daughter's illness, those are the people who inspired me to, you have to share the story. You have to. You can't not share the story. You're going to save some kid's life if you tell the story. So a very dear friend of mine who is a bond trader in a brokerage firm, we just do a little business once a month maybe, but he's a nice guy. A shout out to Mike. He knows who he is. He actually inspired me to write the book. I couldn't believe it. A stranger was telling me, you have to write this book. You have to. You can't not. You're going to save some kid's life. So I started it, and I said, okay, that's it. And within a year, I had it published. I had to get it out. And then the next year, all these people contacted me. So, yes, many children have been turned around from, as I said, 14 months old to 18, 21, and 28 years old. They've turned their lives around. And did I save them? No, their parents who contacted me saved them.
Absolutely.
They were really smart parents, really smart parents.
All right, lastly, Yankee Magic in the house that Babe built. All right, on an up note, what happened?
It's a beautiful story, and I love that chapter, and it makes me cry every time I reread it.
That's
but
okay.
In short, all Courtney wanted for her birthday was great Yankee seats, and the Yankees, for anybody who's not from America, is one of the most popular baseball teams in America, and her favorite Yankees were Derek Jeter. That was it. That's who she liked. And she wanted an autographed ball from Derek Jeter. And my deal with her was, okay, so these vitamins can work. We know that they can work because they saved LaDonna's life. You've got to believe it, because if it was you, and I was talking to you, Bob, and I said, you've got to believe it's going to work. If you don't believe, it's not going to work. You know what I'm talking about. But a little kid goes, okay, whatever, Mommy. And so I had to promise her anything she wanted for her birthday if she'd just believe in the vitamins, that they are going to heal her. And she's like, okay, because she's a little kid. But luckily, little kids don't want too many. She didn't want a Corvette or a beach house.
Lucky
she
on
just wanted
you, yeah.
tickets and an autographed ball, which is still expensive. And I had to figure out how I was going to do that, because that was going to cost me a lot of money. So and with all the expenses that with the vitamins, it's a lot. So I just tried to pull in favors from people, and I started calling people that I hadn't spoken to since, we were younger. And I just told them my story. Within 60 seconds, they said, sure. And one guy gave me second-row seats to a Yankee game. And I felt so blessed, because those are very, very hard to come by, and people don't give them away. But when you say my kid has hepatitis, they go, sure, I'll help.
Wow.
And then another guy who I knew from when we were, kids in Queens, and if you know anything about Queens, New York, it's not the greatest town in America. It's got a lot of crime, and it's not the easiest place to live. But we both were kids in that neighborhood growing up, and the guy ended up working for the Yankees, and I haven't spoken to him in 30 years, and I saw him across the field and screamed out his name in my New York fashion, because New Yorkers, they have big mouths.
Right.
And he saw me, he came over, and I told him in 30 seconds that my kid had hepatitis. All I want is just an autographed ball. Anything you could do, I'm so grateful. And he said, sure, I'll come and see you later on. And don't you know, he came later on, and he told me, here's a ball. And he said, I'm sorry, Courtney, I couldn't get Derek Jeter, but I'll send him to you in the mail. And she looked at me like, oh, how did he know? And that's all she wanted was Derek Jeter's autographed ball.
Wow.
And 3 weeks later, her liver levels came down to normal.
There.
So I ask you,
There's the love.
what healed Courtney?
Right. There you go. There you go. See what I mean?
So Derek Jeter doesn't realize how special he was in her healing. And I've tried to get word to him, but it's so hard to get, famous people
No,
to
it's
listen
not.
to your
No,
words.
Nah, it's not that hard. You just have to call a bunch of guys in it and say, hey, listen, you know what I mean? I want to talk to this guy, okay? Listen, I got a cousin.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right. Well, I did want to tell him, and if anybody out there knows Derek Jeter, you can tell him he was responsible for helping my daughter turn her life around.
You're getting kisses and hugs, by the way, from Canada. So,
Thanks.
yeah, you're getting a lot of love from up there.
Thanks. I feel it.
Thank you for very, very much, Annette, for being on the show. And we got to have you back another time and talk about this a little bit more. And you're writing something else, right?
I am trying to update the book because I want to tell people who has healed. So I'm going to get the stories together from the people who've healed, and I'm going to write another book about who healed.
Okay,
During Courtney and the people it touched.
Tell everybody the website.
The website is www.curingcourtney.com. And did you know that you could just go on the browser and just write curingcourtney.com? You don't need to put the www in.
And you get a picture of the book, actually, when you do that.
Oh, good.
It's like, bam, there's the story.
Yeah, and the book, when you get the book in its, in hard copy, you can actually see on the back the transition. She went from a healthy little 7-year-old to what they did to her and how she looked when she was prednisone heavy. And then what she looks like now is still what she looks like. She's, a gorgeous, tall athlete, and she's actually no longer in organized sports, but this kid is in such control of her body. Nobody tells her what to do. She's going to eat the proper things, and she's going to work out because she knows how to handle her health now. She knows how to manage her life. And that's what we all have to do. We have to learn. Learn from Courtney. Learn from the kids. The kids know that if you eat properly and you exercise, you're going to feel better.
Well,
especially if you almost lost your life.
You tell Courtney that Bob Charles sends his love and keep kicking butt.
Thank you.
That's what she's got to do. And thank you very, very much.
Okay. If I can answer any questions, please email me.
No, I'll email them over. No problem.
Great.
All righty.
Thank you so much for having me on, Bob. I really appreciate it and had a great time.
Denise, anytime.
You're the best.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Denise Otten, and she will be right back. And I'm going to answer this phone, and you're going to hear some music. So hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, we will be right back. You know what we're going to do? This is www.kinetichifi.com on the Bob Charles International Show. You stay right where you are because Jamie Clark, the man, the guy, is coming to you in 30 seconds.